First of all, the area along the beach there, and is that something that is available for sphere of influence? Do we own it? Does Chevron own it?
David's going to try and point that out. Some of it's owned by Chevron. I'm not sure about the remainder. Yeah, right now you can see the up in this northern area just to the north of Choro Creek, right in here. This area right here on the beach side, I'm uncertain.
Is what? I'm sorry?
I'm uncertain as to the ownership on the west side.
Yeah, right now you can see the up in this northern area just to the north of Choro Creek, right in here. This area right here on the beach side, I'm uncertain.
Is what? I'm sorry?
I'm uncertain as to the ownership on the west side.
Anyone staff know? Mike?
Once you cross the bridge, the Morro Bay city limits continues to Toro Creek Road. On the right-hand side, it's a very narrow strip, but it is in the city.
Right, because the last parcel that I know that we own is North Point, where the open space is.
Mr.
Yeah,
Bradford,
and I want
any other information on that?
That's outside the city limits, and I believe it's state parks.
And is there an ocean easement out there? Do you know the answer to that one?
I don't know that the city has any easements out there.
That would revert to the state then. If anybody else have more information on the ocean?
That's a good thing because water is a precious value. It's a huge commodity right now. It's a huge need for people across the nation. We're running out of it. We're poisoning it with septic systems, and we have to stop doing that.
The ultimate issue here is whether or not the Los Osos will be needing 42 more miles of pipe to go through the town or not, which will be subject to breaking. The things that are happening in other infrastructure issues show that the pipes break over a series of time, whatever that time may be. My name is Patrick Sparks. I'm an attorney licensed in California. Approximately $220 billion worth of new infrastructure will be needed in the United States to replace aging infrastructure.
And the other question was jurisdiction over Cayucas and jurisdiction over Morro Bay and who has what and where.
Well, in terms of jurisdiction, we have jurisdiction over the sanitary, the fire district, and the county service area.
Who has jurisdiction over LAFCO, or is there an appeal process?
Oh, there's really no appeal process.
Okay, this graph is my summary or meta-analysis of the work of many experts and institutes around the world who have studied this problem and are studying it right now. This is not my opinion, but this is a meta-analysis, a summary of that data. We had at that point, March 2006, about 7 years to make a change before the ocean entered what they called an irreversible degradation in its productivity and vitality, its health and vitality, their term. So these time frames and timelines are lining up in a very menacing way, and so it looks like in about 5 years from now, it's 2008 right now, in about 5 years we're getting onto that slippery slope where the positive feedbacks enter and the thing goes out of the possibility of human control unless we have very large and well thought out strategies in place almost immediately.
I forget where I read it, I'm sorry, I can't quote it, but I understand that Chevron would rather stay within the city's sphere of influence. What weight does that have in your decision?
We did survey all property owners within the area. We received a mixed response. Chevron, I believe, did say they wanted to be continue to be within the sphere of influence.
And does that carry any weight with you?
You know, we look at our guidelines, we look at development plans, and you know, we base our recommendation, you know, on what our LAFCO guidelines would be, and on the county and city general plans and plans for development. And it seems like we're getting into that area that we kind of miscommunicated previously. So.
Well, I just find it interesting that both the city and Chevron would rather it stay in the sphere of influence, and that doesn't matter. And that's what concerns me, quite honestly. That exact attitude is what concerns me. You give this up, you're not going to get it back. We're never going to get it back. And so that very attitude is what I am totally afraid of in this whole thing. You take it away, we're not going to get it back. Advisory doesn't count. It doesn't count. We've learned that with several agencies. Okay. What I find frustrating in all of this is that what we pretty much want to do, I think, and I think I can speak for most of us, is keep open space. around our city. We don't want development right up to our borders. And for me, my theory on sphere of influence, and perhaps it's wrong, but I've always felt that that was what a city felt, they could expand out there, it would influence them one way or the other. And so they wanted to keep a modicum of control over that so that it would not adversely affect their city structure. So to have the county say, through you, say, well, we want to keep this, it's agriculture, we want to keep it that way, that's already kind of our goal. So I guess I'm not understanding why LAFCO would be concerned that we wouldn't be doing that. And to say that it's just because we're financially strapped right now that we don't have the right to a sphere of influence, I don't think that that's logical.
I guess that you're not following my logic here because...
No, I'm not.
Surcharging basically is a fluid dynamic term that refers to trying to put 3 gallons in a 2-gallon bucket. That would be a surcharging bucket. The last gallon just spills over. It's like a spillover. You need to build a bigger bucket. This is the San Simeon holding tank, 90,000 gallons. It's basically a big accumulator to be able to handle some of the peak dry weather and peak wet weather flows. 90,000 gallons is basically kind of like a drop in the bucket when it comes to the amount of surcharging you can get during a wet weather event.
With my colleagues, especially Janine Gossenhauser, seated at my right, and the late Arthur C. Clarke, our dear friend who passed away just a couple weeks ago in Sri Lanka at the age of 91. Just wanted to acknowledge him. I won't go through the whole list, but we began working in about 1999 on our own area of greatest interest in this, which was the declining condition of the ocean, how that was affected by global climate change, the greenhouse effect, and how it affected it.
You bring up a good point, and I want to categorize this. I am not attacking you personally. That's not my goal here. But this really is distressing to me. I would think to other people. In your report, it seems to me that that map is what we asked to look at to include in our sphere of influence, that we didn't mind having it reduced. I agree, it's huge. I don't know why they ever determined that. But to bring it back to the map that's on page 115, and then instead of looking at those as possibilities, they were just all taken away.
Well, again, Madam Mayor, they were study areas. They were not areas that were requested to be included in the sphere of influence, and there is a difference. So we took a look at the study areas, we studied them, we came up with a report, a month or 2 months ago, and outlined all of the reasons, if you read it, which I'm sure you have.
The sea level is rising at an accelerating rate all over the world by approximately an equal amount all over the world every day now. The rise in sea levels that all these little island countries are feeling, some of them are only an average of 1 meter above sea level as it is. They are losing acres, the worst cases being Tuvalu and the Maldives.